Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
Very last show on Monsters of Rock.
Wow.
We did the show. Our managers were there, Q Prime, the president of the record company. Everybody was there, you know, because they knew we were just at each other's throats. And it got so bad. I think Eddie Van Halen and I think Lars, they both actually went up to George's room. And like Eddie said, "Look, I don't like David Lee Roth." He goes, "But when we go on stage, we do our job. We're the best of friends. You don't wash your dirty laundry on stage. It's only a freaking hour." And the big grunge singers died. Lane Stevens. I used to be a Rolls Royce mechanic.
Well,
all right. Holy shit. Well, I think it's a happy Easter, and you know, we were supposed to have somebody on here with us today. Oh, look at that. I still have fucking Def Leppard back there. I'm wearing a Wasp t-shirt. There you go. In honor of the octogenarian, Neely, because he's not the only one that can wear a Wasp t-shirt, you know. But we're starting things off with this thing we're calling the Dokken Minute, where we run into clips of Don, and there's kind of like with the CMS, there's going to be a wealth of this footage out there because they can't scrub the internet. But what do you guys think? I mean, this I think it was Andrew that suggested this particular clip. I mean, there, like we said,
yes,
a lot of them out there, but yeah, we'll see what you guys think.
Well, if you seen, not only did I pull that clip, which is the main one I want to talk about, but I put two little teasers at the end there of some other clips that we'll eventually get to at some point, like him not being able to remember anybody's fucking name, or
Right.
just his ability to embellish things that are more than likely not true. This clip stood out to me, though, because he starts off by saying Dokken broke up on the very last show of the Monsters of Rock, which would have been 88, correct?
Right. Yes.
Which at that point, we all know that would have been Van Halen on OU812, so second album with Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he's talking that Eddie was saying to him, well, when David Lee Roth and I get on stage, well, when the fuck was that? 4 fucking years prior?
Right. Well, I attended the Monsters of Rock tour show at the Kingdom.
I know. How was Dave?
And it was Hagar. I swear it was Hagar on stage and not David Lee Roth.
What?
The man can't get his timelines right. He's not even close. I mean, like you said, 2 albums, probably 2 tours, years apart. It's not like he's like 1985 and he's, I don't know, was he still in the band or not? No, we're years later into a whole nother thing, and he has no clue. Right. So he's either full of shit or his memory's gone. But yeah.
But it's never been, his memory has never been good. I mean, people want to talk. We were talking a couple of weeks ago about him not knowing the words to the Great White songs, but the bigger problem is he doesn't know the words to his own fucking songs that he allegedly wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been singing for at least 20 or 25 fucking years the wrong lyric to the second verse in The Hunter for, like I said, for like 25 fucking years. He's been singing, "It's hard for me to shoot for the thrill." The fucking lyric is, "I know it's hard for you, my taste for the kill."
Or he changed it and on purpose and then decided to go with his alteration forever. My guess is that
weird?
Good.
is when they re-recorded that in 2010 on the fucking Clio record, where they re-recorded all the greatest hits on that album. He sings the right words.
Well, somebody
Weird.
probably
Some-
printed off the lyrics, and he was
Put 'em
probably
in front of him.
Yeah, he had him in
Wendell
front of
did.
him. Wendell.
Yeah.
I don't think he was involved. I think at that point it was probably Dan Crenshaw, the
Okay.
prior,
No,
the
Neely
previous
Neely
Wendell.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Neely was involved at that point. 2010, he was already in there in the mix.
Oh, he had already
Well,
wiggled his way in.
Here's some trivia for you, and it's actually. Do you have a physical copy of Lightning Strikes Again?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, look in the liner notes for that, because Neely sequenced that album.
Oh, okay. I'll have to dig through that.
And Neely, it might have even been the bonus track, but Neely has like gang vocal credits on that album too.
His mic wasn't on. Stop it.
Yeah, I know, but he does, technically speaking.
Right.
I know, because we would have heard
us Neelys, we've got the pipes. We can get in there and give them the high falsetto if they need it, or we can get down low. It's a Neely thing that we can do. And no one else in the band was quite qualified other than Neely to pull out the notepad and pen and start jotting down the sequence for the album. And then Don looked over and said, "Oh, it was already done. Here you go."
I was just thinking that this high and dry thing, it could give the people the wrong idea. It's almost two naked guys.
A little questionable what's going on behind
Oh,
you
well,
there.
I'll have to change that next go around. I just didn't think too much about it.
Well, so getting back to Don, though, we have to we reiterate here that his memory is false in many regards, and we don't have to do much to debunk him. He's going to do plenty of that with his own words.
But it was a good suggestion that we do this kind of Dokken minute where we spend a few moments, couple minutes or something, either at the beginning or at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need Dokken bullshit.
Yeah, we need to cover the territory that the CMS will not cover, and that is Dokken.
Right.
So anything Don does wrong, they're going to ignore. So as they ignore many things, right, Wendell?
They do. And well, I guess before we get
Neely doesn't mention a lot of things. You could club that guy in the head, and he would just kind of brush it off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could be knocking at his front door and he would ignore you. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he could even be having like his, secretary that was screaming the N-word, giving him a large package, and he would still not understand what's going on. He would deny all.
And that package may have a note in there, wishing him the best with the use of a club on his future Camaro, but also with a little notation that, nice try at sabotage.
But we'll all pretend that these things didn't happen, and he doesn't know anything about the wrap-up show. He's not on social media, so he doesn't know what's going on out there. Just like Don, is currently on tour probably right now with David Lee Roth and Van Halen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And just like Taylor's only 98 pounds.
Exactly. But
she's full figured. Now stop it. She's
I'm waiting for the excuse to be, though, that he's getting up there in age and his memory's a little faulty, but he's still getting on stage and cutting it as the front man for Dokken. I'm waiting for these excuses to come out.
Well, Neely's not a spring chicken himself. I mean, he's almost 70 years old himself. I mean, I think we've gone into a little bit of side talk about what happens next, and maybe we should get into that and then, get into that and then talk a little bit Easter stuff. I mean, we were supposed to have somebody on, but how rock and roll.
But instead, we do have somebody coming on to talk Easter with us.
Well,
but the original person we had kind of had Easter plans, and I'm like, really, Easter? How fucking rock and roll is that?
Hey, those eggs aren't going to find themselves.
No, but
we are very, very fortunate that I was able to reach out to someone who said, despite the massive Easter plans that are going on in Tennessee right now outside Nashville, that they would take a little time to talk to us. So,
right,
yes.
So we'll chat a little Easter. We have to point out that there are, since it is Easter, I'm not religious myself. I'm more of the agnostic. I don't think anything really exists. Things just fucking end. But I am a fan of some of the Christian rock and noteworthy bands. I mean, obviously, I think you guys are familiar with Striper.
Striper.
Good bands, good records, at least at the beginning. I think there was a drop
Yeah.
off after "To Hell with the Devil." That was the album. I thought their signature record. And then there was a
Yeah.
couple other bands. I mean, Bloodgood from Washington State. Again, never saw them myself personally, but I did follow them for a little bit. And then Barren Cross, and that band is kind of got a Maiden-esque type vibe to them, and they do have this kind of Christian message behind all their tunes and religion and whatnot. I could tolerate those bands. Those are the three bands that I could tolerate. So yeah, we noteworthy Christian rock bands for you guys to check out if you feel like it. I think at some point we may do a breakdown of that Barren Cross Atomic Arena album, because I think as a whole it's pretty good, and I'm sure you guys could tolerate that. If you could tolerate Striper, you can listen to a little bit of Barren
I
Cross.
can tolerate some Striper. I can tolerate some To Hell with the Devil and some Soldiers Under Command.
Yeah, and those
sure.
those
Good
are the
stuff.
two. Yeah, and those are the two really good records I think that Striper have. But anyway, so I don't know if you guys lead the way. What do we want to talk about next? Because we do have a guest, but we want to do a little bit of CMS breakdown, maybe.
Well,
Whoa.
I didn't watch last night, but I'm hearing from you two that Wendell might be deciding on a truck instead of a new Camaro.
He apparently has secured himself a truck. Yes, a large
He
black
has
truck.
made the purchase. He has made the purchase
Yeah.
of a large black truck. Okay.
So
And,
To
what
what
do we-
compensate for the small white?
of course,
I guess
what
we
do
won't
you-
go there.
I'm just thinking
I-
how his little feet are going to maneuver the gas pedal, or if it's a
Exactly. He has to
it has a
compensate for those feet.
he's gonna need a little bit of adjusting to the seat and stuff. I think that little guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like he decided on a truck. All the off-roading that he does and everything.
Absolutely.
Logical choice.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, does he going to secure a trailer and pull the docking bike behind him in his truck and go riding
Oh,
down
right.
to dawn
Sure.
in
But
New
you
Mexico?
Gotta look at it this way. He's going to get it jacked up. I mean, we already know the Evil Knievel stunts that he's
Sure.
going to be pulling on but he's going to also be doing like some Monster Jam shit in that fucking truck.
Right.
We should
Yeah.
also make mention that the suspects were smart enough to burn the vehicle out after removing the seats, the engine, and the transmission. So the vehicle was found, but charred and burned. So
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay, wait, no. Fill me in. I know none of this. I didn't watch
you
it
better
last night.
you
I
better
tuned in
catch
for
him up
2
to speed because he really didn't watch the show or listen to
Yeah,
the show.
I went and watched my fucking roommates get fucked around on a fucking mechanical bull instead.
Well, see, pretty soon Neely could go with you guys and go do some country shit because now he's got himself a truck.
got himself
Right.
a truck.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he claims that upon making his arrangements for a new vehicle and so forth, a phone call was had from the local police or the county sheriff, I believe he said, and they said they found the vehicle burnt out, and but no engine, no transmission, and no front seats. So
they chop did him.
yes,
much.
and then burned it up so their fingerprints could not be found since they were pulling firearms on people. These were smart criminals.
Yeah.
So, but he claims he got paid out in full for his vehicle and has a new truck to his name. Maybe he thinks the truck is least likely to be stolen in Chicago.
Oh God! Well, gee whiz, Chris, what you it happened again? I just
You
keep
notice
getting these expensive vehicles.
you notice those guys are on the best behavior. It is funny that now we've almost become like executive producers of the fucking show. It's like
Yeah,
we
we're
mentioned something
so
and they're
close.
just sitting there minding themselves, and it's killing them. It was killing Neely to say the N-word last night. You know it. I mean,
Yeah.
he even referred
Oh,
to
of
it as
course,
the
he can't
N-word, and I'm
not.
like,
As
how
the
often does
Yes, he
that
can.
happen with that?
You mean what I said he could have referred to it as instead of fucking saying it? How funny is that?
Yeah, and now he's censoring himself. Go figure.
Yeah,
Well,
because you know
again,
maybe you shouldn't have been doing that the entire fucking time.
Yeah.
and he has a co-host who might be concerned about a family-friendly
Well,
soccer
yeah,
podcast. We
especially
can't be
yeah,
affiliating with the
especially
KKK on the
no
side.
kidding, especially when all the players he's speaking with are minorities. Go
Yes,
figure.
exactly. So there's no Wendell Neely kicking the winning goal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he's not going to kick anything. I mean,
No,
he'll dislocate his fucking hip.
So yeah, the bottom line is they've had to
Surgery,
tone it
like, come
down.
on.
They've had to tone it down and bring the show down to a dull roar. And it's eating Brother Neil's up. Citizen Wendell is fired up inside when he can't use his vernacular that he likes to use. So yes, the vehicle was found. Other than that, I mean, it was pretty much a snooze fest. If I wasn't doing things around the house,
Well, but I did take some
using his
notes.
background noise. Okay,
I did take some notes. So we have the truck, and then that other bore, the drummer from Red Rain, popped on. I mean, that's kind of the best they could do is get Red Rain. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But then again, what is
they're a
he
big
doing?
time act.
What's he doing? What's he doing on a Saturday night, right? But
And didn't it seem odd to you when they were discussing that with the Red Rain boys that they're doing the weekday dates but not the weekend dates?
Yeah.
Does that mean that that LA Guns didn't want them for the shows when the people were really going to show up on Friday and Saturday night?
I would think
to get
so.
A different band?
Here's how it, and you know how this works. You know, they bought on. They probably threw 100 tickets to them and said, "Sell these 100 tickets." Which they will, because it sounds like these are elderly men with established careers, and they have money, so they'll just they'll peddle them to their friends and family. Friends and family show up for the gig. As soon as their 30 minutes is up, they depart and never to be seen again. And then LA Guns comes on with the real fans, right? So they need them in the weekdays. They don't need them on the weekends. So that's how that goes. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
You don't know.
I think Red Rain's going to be the draw. I think Red.
Well, I think.
Well, I also wondered: are those weekend dates in New York City? Are they in places that they're not? Not only does LA Guns not really want to bring them with,
they don't want to be
maybe Red Rain, or maybe Red Rain doesn't really want to drive their stuff into the city and pay the tolls and everything to not get paid to do a show to open up for free at some club where it's going to cost us money to get here.
Yeah,
which is how the music business really works, kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're big time. He signed that guy's arm. He signed Bruce Valanche's arm.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He did. So yeah.
The good news is he's an accountant, and they have side gigs, and this is just for fun for them. So I'm not knocking them. I just thought it was odd that they wouldn't just buy on for the whole run and just stay out there. It just seemed logical. If you're going to be in a van driving around, you would just stay along for the whole ride. But to go back for 3 days, then go back out for 3 more days seemed kind of odd to me.
Right.
Maybe maybe they want the weekend to be with their families. Who knows?
Their grandkids, right? They want to hang out with the grandkids, go watch their grandkids' soccer games.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
All right. So there was that. Let me see.
Then I heard you said Neely was being a fucking ghoul as usual.
Well, yeah, that leads us to the cosplay girl. I know we were talking about how some of these people dress up like they're in the
are
80s,
embarrassing as fuck. Yes.
Yeah, but they did have that one of the cosplay girls on there that does look like she's some 80s chick. I mean, she's got that down. But I know the first thing that comes out of Neely's skull, oh, cute girl, nice body, and it's like, oh,
about
so
somebody
cringy.
who's in their early 20s and he's 60.
Yep, 21.
Fucking grandfather.
22.
Yeah, 21, 22. Under 25 for sure. But
for sure.
Which one was it?
It was. Do you remember which one it was?
I don't remember what her name was. The funny part to me was they acted like, well, this is the only girl I see out doing this. Well, you admit you're not on social media, so how many are you going to see doing it?
Right.
And there's Instagram is full of these chicks. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, but that was
dumb.
That was pretty ghoulish. I mean, just the way he starts off, and I'm like, oh, here we go. It didn't take long. I mean, as soon as Chris popped the first video on there, he was cute girl. Yeah,
You know what we're
great
going to
body.
need for Ghoul Talk? First of all, that's going to become a segment eventually with Neely. It's going
Ghoul
to be
Talk.
Ghoul Talk. And it's going to be, we need a bumper of Neely and all his fucking comments about girls young enough to be his granddaughter. And we got to put fucking Danny Elfman, Oingo Boingo, little girls in the background.
And here's the part that Andrew's going to want to go back and listen to.
Yeah.
He makes mention in this part of this segment. He says, "She looks like a girl I used to date. I probably dated a few girls like that back in my day in LA."
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Right.
Jeez. You know, that's a common response, though, because in the comments on a lot of those fucking things, that is what the old creepers, because you know that's what gravitates to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, of course, I've
yeah.
read comments, and
I've
that's
been
what
there
a lot of the
before.
creepers fucking say is, well, you look just like a girl I used to date. It's like, hey, let me let you in on this, you fucking trick, because you're too goddamn fucking stupid to pick up on what they're doing. They're not dressing like that because they actually are into that stuff or they think it's cool.
Right.
They know that all you old fucks are the ones with money, so they're trying to attract you so they can get your wallet, stupid.
Right.
They
Right.
need clicks, man.
Yeah. But
They're looking for clicks. But
they
Neely
went
doesn't
through
get that. He's not on social media, so he's
Oh,
not
he's not.
aware of the.
He doesn't have a
the-
burner account like Chris said.
Although
"No, I'm
when
getting a burner account.
and Neely went, oh yeah, burner account. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, he has one.
Yeah,
said
he has one.
That's
He
why
said-
he's laughing.
Right. What a dickhead.
But it really is kind of, when you think about it, there is a certain level of what is the word I'm looking for? Anyway, where the old guys are preying on them, but they're preying on the old guys too. So they're
Sure.
preying on each other. It's
Well,
like
it's like an arrangement. It's like a mutual
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Which
like when you
fine.
go out and you pick up a Ford Escort and you take it for a spin to the Arcata.
The Arcata Theater. Yeah. And then he gets an opportunity to show off the Ford Escort and feel like a celebrity, right?
Yeah,
Because
I feel like a
he's
celebrity.
there with the Dokken crew or whatever.
He's got the
He's there
arm
with
candy to march
he's
around.
there with the Dokken crew. He's got the, well, yeah, I mean, she likes, never mind.
Yeah.
He's got this size zero with him. And again, I'm not hating, but
No.
be honest at the same
Yeah,
fucking time.
she's not a size zero. No, she's not a size zero. She's full figured. Come on.
I can tell you everything that's ever annoyed me with her has everything to do with her fucking personality and nothing more.
And she's a
because
cosplay
she's
chick too. She's a
Yeah.
cosplay chick. So yeah, I could see where that turns Neely on.
But
I'm
she's
with-
also rock royalty, being
Rock
Juan
royalty.
Croussier's daughter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey,
Allegedly.
Taylor, can you
Oh,
wear that
Lady
Catwoman
Taylor.
suit again?
Here,
Put on your
I'm going to
rat-
pay attention.
Put
to
on your rat
Jason.
t-shirt, your rat invitation t-shirt.
Invitation, dear.
Hey, speaking of, it's funny you should say that because
Invitation.
today is actually the
Invitation's
15th
birthday.
anniversary. Yes. 15th anniversary of.
On 420, man.
Of rat.
Yeah, it's 420. It's
Isn't,
Bobby Block.
isn't 420 like
Blotcher's
Hitler's
Idols?
birthday too? I mean, how
Yes,
ironic.
it's
We're
what I was
talking
getting
about
at.
a
I
creepy,
said
a
Bobby
creepy
Blotcher's
racist on
birthday.
Well, I
your.
have the Maltese cross.
Yeah, well, there you
Maltese
go. I
crosses.
mean, this is all kind of falling into place. We're on 420 talking.
It's one of my
we're
cat's
talking-
birthdays.
Yeah, we're talking about some old racist guy.
So
Yeah,
what else did
Hitler's
they
birthday.
discuss on the show
Well,
there, Ruben?
The
I
other
know.
thing that if you, well, you know how he latches on to people. He tried to latch onto the Piercy camp.
Oh,
Eventually,
yes,
he
this
latched
one.
onto Doc, and now his very good friend is who? Do you know?
Nate Peck,
Nate Peck.
the
Oh,
Firehouse.
And I'm sure
Like
that'll
this.
last, too.
Which-
All Nate needs to do is do a search of some of his racist ramblings, and I'm sure he's going to go, yeah, you know what? I'm
Wow.
gonna distance myself from this weirdo.
It would be easy for that to find its way to Nate because I believe on a serious level, Evil has had some interactions with
Right.
Nate in person.
I have.
as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. Nate's a fine gentleman, and I'm sure in this situation the reality is that it's Dawn that introduced Wendell and Nate.
Right.
And Nate has an admiration for Dawn, as we all do, for the music, for the
For the
tunes that we
music,
all
yeah.
grew up on. Yes,
Of
and
course.
that's that. And Nate is a sweet, kind gentleman who wouldn't hurt a fly, and so I'm sure he's completely unaware of Neely's misgivings and vulgar language and
Yeah.
all the fun things that come with the Neely the party that he likes to bring. But the bottom line is, yeah, I mean, now maybe that's Wendell's ticket in the future is to get to some Firehouse shows. If Don's heading out, maybe he can latch on. They can carry the bags for Bill and Michael Foster as they get on the flights and whatever Wendell
Yeah.
does.
Right. And
But yeah,
the well, let me see. The
the
one
version
thing,
that Nate did on that song is pretty good. That's not. I don't think it's Nate's
Oh, yeah,
best.
it is.
No.
I don't think it's his.
Right.
He's knocked a few others a little bit.
Sure.
My taste. But for Dawn and for it was a. I also enjoyed the fact that the song choice that he did was cool.
Yeah, it's something different, right? It was
Yeah,
it was
that was
There's
it.
some
it was
Don
deeper.
don't play anymore or ever.
Yeah, it was a deeper deeper tune. But
Exactly.
I was gathering my thoughts. Basically, I think if you recap, as soon as Neely crowbarred Nate in there, he goes, "Well, he and I really hit it off." That thing he always says, they really hit it off, and then he makes it sound like they're buddies or whatever.
Well, he said the same thing about Roy Cathy too, except I
Right.
actually believe that one because they're both fucking cucks. But anyway, I digress.
Right. But yeah, but I mean, when he said that with Nate, I'm like, oh, really? You guys became really good buddies, huh? Just over like 2 or 3 days. But whatever.
Yeah,
Again,
we're fast friends, as it were.
even in my case, Nate is just a polite young man who, if you know what you're talking about and the music, so forth, he'll chat you up and have a conversation with almost anyone. He's
Right.
not full of himself. He's not walking around thinking he's God's gift to anything. Just a great singer who's cutting it for Firehouse and filling in. And honestly, in all of these situations, very few bands have an opportunity where the singer knows he's on the way out and can kind of help hand choose who he wants to take over the spot, and that's pretty much what happened in this case. So,
Mhm.
but all this Wendell and Don stuff is just, Neely has an admiration for young people doing music, as it's all cool to see young guys, and they were playing that young kid doing the Dokken
Yeah.
song last night on the show, and that
What
kid was
did-
doing a hell of a job for a
Yeah.
little guy.
Right.
But the
right.
bottom line is, the idea that any of these young people really want to hang out with Wendell at 65 or even me at 45 is pretty
Or Red
unlikely.
Rain. I mean, how many
Exactly.
how many fans do you think they have that are like 15 years old or 20
One.
years old? I mean, think about that.
I don't.
There's that one kid that likes them because their dad is. I believe that. That's possible, right? If even.
Oh yeah, that's possible. Yeah, but I mean, they're not going to sustain that. I mean, they're not going to be bringing in new fans, young fans consistently. I mean, that's just
Their largest demographic is the 40 to 60 age
Right.
group.
right. So, but yeah, that was interesting that now Neely is kind of like good buddies with Nate Peck, and I was like, oh, sure.
Well,
you
as he is with a lot of the youth. I mean, he mentors young Mikey.
are. I don't think
Maybe
that guy,
he's thinking in his mind he should saddle up to Nate in case Nate takes over Dawkins' job when Don steps down.
Well,
real quick,
you know,
real quick though.
Wendell Neely is sculpting America's youth.
Well,
But if Nate has any common sense, just stick with Bill and Michael and ride that shit for a while there,
that
buddy. They're
band
a
is
few
too
years
squeaky
younger.
clean. That band's
They're
too
too-
squeaky clean.
and they're
Yeah,
and they're solid. Like I saw it as
Yeah.
far as like Dokken is one step away from in the grave and the ship going
well,
into
that's
the ocean.
that's what
Firehouse
that's
could have
what
10 more years.
that's what what's his face said, Jason Green, right? And then he backpedaled on that. But
Oh yeah. Well,
but I think Firehouse is just too what'd I say? What was the word? Too squeaky clean. And I don't mean that
Yeah.
in a negative way. I just think they're real
No, they
straight
are.
shooters. I mean, they're not going to get involved with some guy that's, going on rants about blacks and, women and stuff like that. I mean, again, they have a fan base that's established and that consistently
Around the
makes
world.
shows. You think they're gonna wreck that by bringing in some dirtbag like that? I don't think so.
no.
No. And no, Bill and Michael Foster are pretty straight shooters, and
Mhm.
they know that 50% of their fan base is in Malaysia and Indonesia and Japan and these
Mhm.
Asian countries. They're not going to be selling enough to dwindle the likes of this guy hanging out backstage.
Right.
Again, that's just Nate being polite, and he's a nice guy, and yeah. So Nate,
So
just stick with Firehouse because the docking ship can go down any time. I think Bill and Michael got quite a few years of rock left in them.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there was that. I think the other thing too is they managed to wedge a mention of Jericho Green in there. And if you recall, then
You know that is, right?
yeah. Well, then the Nate Peck thing, and then
Right.
remember, then Chris goes, "Well, Mariah did Dream
Mariah
Warriors," and
step,
then all of a
yeah,
sudden it
they
comes this Mariah video, and it's well,
You know
that's
what's
kind of
really funny
interesting.
about that is they've already discussed Mariah doing Dream Warriors. The first time they talked about Mariah like 3 fucking years ago.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
well, it's Groundhog Day
Right.
again.
It's
We'll
interesting.
we'll go there with that. Also, they have to bring the Jericho thing up because Neely's like, all right, Chris, I got the ultimate strategy because these guys called me out for being a fucking racist, so I got to throw out the ultimate card of, well, I have a black friend.
Yeah, I mean,
one that
They
won't
all
come
do.
on the show anymore.
yeah, mentioning
Yeah,
him
because he
is
probably
it
heard him
yeah.
say that fucking word.
Yeah, that mention isn't him on the show. I mean, if he was on the show, that'd be a totally different story. But even Mariah, I mean, Chris can't even deliver Mariah anymore. And that was one of those things where it was like, I don't know if you guys remember when Chris was interviewing the dude from Steelheart, and he did the Angel Eyes, I'll never let you go, or whatever. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and
They
he played the
played
video
The
of
Milianko
Mariah.
guy.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
to dig that up, but it was so disgusting the way Chris was just slobbering all over that video in front of him during an interview he was doing with the guy. I mean, I'm just like, oh,
Wait,
it
wait,
was
wait,
just
wait, wait,
something
wait, wait,
really
wait,
gross
wait,
about
wait.
that one.
So we're talking about he interviewed Milianko, right?
Yes, and then
Yeah.
he goes, "Oh, I
Okay.
want you to see a video. I have a
Yeah.
friend," and he played him the video of Mariah covering the song,
Oh yeah,
and
he
and
all
and
right.
Chris is
Okay, I get
Chris is
you.
like slobbering all over himself, and I'm like, "Am I the only one that thinks this is fucking gross?" It was just really disgusting,
Even
creepy,
if
and
you wanted to throw that little plug in there, couldn't you just tell him, "Hey, buddy, check
I'm
this
gonna
out and
send you a
look it up
link.
on YouTube later"?
Yeah,
Yeah, get a
Right,
link on the
right.
email. It's cool. They
I
like the
think
version they're doing.
he probably. I'll play devil's advocate here. I think he meant well, but
he probably
like
did, but
Evil
it was
just said,
so disgusting.
that's kind of like a pre-recorder after you're done recording, wrapping up the. Hey, you should check this out thing. Don't do it during
Yeah.
the segment.
But that was a little bit kind of yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I agree. He probably meant well, but it was like, dude, you don't even have the awareness that that's probably not a good idea. But yeah.
Anything
So
else they had on the show?
I'm trying to think. So we went through that.
Again, I was
Neely's
halfway in
new
and halfway
truck.
out.
The new truck.
Yeah,
I think
they
the
have a
other
truck.
thing too is I think we ought to do a thing where we guess what Neely's going to wear next week, because you notice we mentioned the lunch
It's a
lady arms,
pattern.
and all of a sudden he covered the arms up. So
With the
maybe next
T-shirt,
week
the
let's go
Wasp
for
T-shirt.
let's go for a full sleeved shirt next week. But I don't know what you guys think. You think he's going to go with the whiskey, the Iron Cross, the CMS, or the Armored Saint
Well,
T-shirt? Because that's kind of his
he could do
go-to.
that. They should maybe also get some CMS ski masks printed up as well
for his
because
face,
that
for his
guy's face
eyebrows.
is a fucking problem. Yeah.
The other thing, and I was
Fucking Walter Cronkite.
wasn't I was messaging you, Nate. Doesn't he have a weird
Mhm.
tick with his head? Like his head's kind of like bobbling. I think that fucking guy should get checked out for Parkinson's. There's something
I
going on.
would seek a medical diagnosis for the tick that seems uncontrollable at times, and
He
has
has a
led to
weird tick.
has led to the Neely bobblehead that I made that ended up in the Facebook group the photo. There's something going on there, and brother Neil, we're worried about you, my friend. We're just observing things on the video that Father Time is undefeated, and
Well, he's
take
almost
note
70.
Well, he's
Almost
90.
70.
Well, he's 136. His name's Father Dayton, and he's back in
136.
Pennsylvania. And he's got a doctor that Neil should probably see, because if they're keeping him alive at 100, almost 100 years old, I think that Neely needs to get checked.
He's 100. I was talking about Neely. Neely's an octogenarian.
No, his father.
His
I'm
father,
saying,
yeah.
go see the Amish doctor in Pennsylvania that Father Dayton is seeing, because he's keeping the old man alive.
Is it like how show me? Because I haven't seen the head shake. Is it like this, or is it
It's kind of
worse?
like a
Is it is okay? So it's kind of like a Harry Carey kind of fucking.
Yeah. It's a weird thing where he just kind of like
Well, you
shakes his head.
know, guys,
kind of like a shimmy and well, is he given
the
the
old
shuck and jive routine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really weird.
It's like a turkey or something walking down the street.
Well, now we're gonna make them all kind of all what's the word I'm looking for? When somebody's gets this awareness of all the weird ticks that they're doing, self-conscious
Yes,
about the
he's
little
very
feet,
self-conscious.
the lunch lady arms, the plugs, and now the head tick. I mean,
What fucking bastards we are.
we are horrible people.
Not very
Well,
nice.
it's just noticing what's on video. Man, the caterpillar eyebrows last night on this cat were
Well,
just
he needs to ease
like
off on the
Bert
Just
and
for Men.
Bert and Ernie was jealous of the
Alright.
job he had. So
You might need to collect some cat hair or something and up your costume, then.
But we're bastards. We're bringing
evil.
up things that's probably going to hurt his feelers, and we'll see it though. I mean, I guarantee you, at
Feelings,
some
I'm
point he's going to be
sour.
down to a full sleeve shirt, full sleeve,
Yeah.
because he's
Gloves,
been taking notes.
everything.
I think,
Footy
with his
pajamas.
burner account that he has no connection to the internet.
he'll come on in a week or two with a full sleeve Firehouse shirt on. His new allegiance.
Yeah, that has the coming down the arm, the firehouse.
Right. Oh. Yeah, but that was basically the show. It's pretty subdued again for the third week in a row, right? The third week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think at this point,
Yep.
I think Chris is latching onto that soccer podcast, even though they're probably not sending it. They're not probably paying him a whole lot of shekels for that. He just wants to, again, I think in that email it said that he's the type of guy that overextends himself, and what's he doing? He's overextending himself. How about that shit? Isn't that weird?
If they give him a couple of cocktails, he'll probably hang out and cut it up with his friends while he's watching the soccer game. But no, yes, the poor guy. I mean, I feel for him in this regard. It seems like he has a lot of stokes in the fire, so to speak.
Right.
He's got a lot of things
Right.
happening
He
all at
does.
once. Yes, like the email said, he's a nice gentleman, and he's overextends himself, and he's witty and he's funny, and that makes people.
That's what I was gonna say. If we're going to, as he likes to say, peel back the curtain here. I personally believe I do think he is actually a pretty genuine person.
Right.
To be honest with you, Chris, I'm talking about, not that fucking cocksucker.
But
Not
Neely.
I do believe he is a genuine person. I do believe that he likes to. I don't think he does it for. As weird as it's going to sound, because I know that there's been conversations in our chat. I don't think it's really he's doing it so much for attention as he just has a passion for reporting about entertainment. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think he actually has a passion for entertainment, and he just likes talking about it.
Right. And that could be. I mean, my thought is, he's doing all this other stuff where they could be focusing more on this 6-hour show, or just drop that to 2 hours and just do 2 solid hours.
Right. But it's also more so Neely's show than.
Oh yeah. Again, because
anything.
in that email, remember, it says he's bankrolling it, and if Chris had a choice, he'd push him off a cliff or off an edge or some shit like that. But either way, I mean, again, Chris seems like a nice enough guy. It's too bad he's associated to that narcissist.
Yeah.
So
that's putting it mildly, but yes.
And he's family, right?
Yeah, exactly. We would need I think we discussed this in private. We need Sigmund Freud on that case to break down the mental gymnastics that are happening in my family's mind, my own lineage.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
But that I guess the one thing we'll keep. Why don't we take a vote though? What do you guys think he's going to wear next week? I mean, is he going to go with the whiskey sleeveless, the CMS sleeveless, or is he going to wear the Armored Saint T-shirt? He's already worn the Wasp one, so that's already gone through. I mean, I think he's down to like 4 choices, right? That he just wears those.
Well,
in
the Wasp
rotation.
shirt could always return because I'm sure that he does own a washing machine.
Well, you know, he
That's
hit it
a
off with
lot of washing.
Blackie. Remember, Blackie and I really
Oh,
hit it
yeah.
off. Yeah.
I'm going CMS gas station attendant shirt that helps cover up the arms down to the elbow area.
The ones that have the
Still
short
gives them
sleeves.
the
Right,
logo,
right. Yeah.
gives them the
Gotcha.
logo and everything still to promote.
Seen by 80s hair metal has been Don Dokken.
Has he ever worn a Dokken shirt? I don't remember.
No,
him.
but Don wears that CMS shirt all the
Don
fucking
wears
time.
the CMS shirt quite a bit on stage.
Well,
a lot of
because
photos.
Which is Don comes out on stage and he doesn't even realize he has like a Klan rally fucking
no
billboard
shit.
on his chest.
Like how unaware is that guy, right?
I believe the segments that Don has heard of the fucking classic metal show is the segments he was part of.
That's probably
Yeah.
true. That's probably
Yes.
true. And he goes, "Oh yeah," and they
Because
play
remember,
music. Yeah, they play music somewhere in there too, right?
remember, Don said Blabbermouth picked up on something Don said on there before, and Don came back on a week later to set the record straight and went, "Well, Wendell, I'm just saying I didn't realize that you actually had people that paid attention to your little show." And that just kind of got, well, because Don said it, we're just going to let that ride.
Right. Yeah, right. That's true. I do
Insulted
remember
him
that.
on air.
Yeah.
Don can do no wrong, Andrew. He's
Well-
like family to the Neelys.
I'm
And
wondering.
speaking of,
Go ahead.
one of the clips of Don that we have to do that I found right before we all logged in here is there's a clip of Don recently implying that he used to be able to kick George Lynch's ass.
Oh. Okay.
When he
About-
had
yeah, George-
two good hands.
George had muscles, but what good are muscles? You don't know how many times I've just sweeped them and put them on the ground, and I'm thinking to myself,
Oof.
okay.
Oh,
All right.
Also, he was a martial arts master as well. Don was the genius that invented mixed martial arts. In the
Right.
early 80s, he was
Well,
grounding
don't
and
you-
pounding on
Don't you know?
George.
Don't you know? Here's a fun fact. A lot of people don't know this. So at one point in time, Neely, because he was a target for bullies back in the day, Neely was getting chased on Halloween by these 5 guys that were dressed up like skeletons, and they had him cornered. And then Don,
Get him around.
why do you think Dokken at one point had all that Japanese imagery? Because Don wanted to honor his dojo that he
Jesus.
Donald Maynard Miyagi was his.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you can't forget, he always somehow has to mention Chicago, right? Remember that? He mentioned
Yeah.
Chicago.
Had
It's
to
like, what a,
shoehorn in Peter
Yeah.
Cetera in Chicago,
what
Robert
a
Lamb and the
shitty
boys.
fucking band. And I don't get it. I mean, for such a manly dude, right? He has to portray himself as this man's man, and he's into Chicago. Oh my God. Awful.
Well, and he shoehorns it in, but there's no one, not in the listening audience, not Chris, not anyone going, let's hear more Chicago.
Right. He can't.
Yeah,
he can't read the
man.
room. He can't read
Yeah,
the room.
yeah,
I mean, he's an idiot.
And
is a fool.
he kind of does the same thing during the interview with Sammy. Chris was kind of interviewing and the back and forth,
Mhm.
and then Neely chimed in with some joke that just
Yeah, fell flat.
fell
He did
flat.
that-
No one laughed. It was like, okay, Chris moved on.
He did
Yeah.
that with Florentine a couple times too. Anytime Neely would try to be funny with
Oh,
Florentine,
yeah.
Chris would say something, Florentine would laugh. Florentine would say something, they both would laugh.
What was that thing
Neely
he
would
said?
say something, crickets. He's Daffy Duck in that fucking cartoon where Bugs Bunny's dancing, and then every time he goes off on stage and Daffy runs out there like, hey, look at me, and everybody just goes silent.
Right,
Neely's Daffy.
Daffy. What was that thing he said to Florentine that was really cringy? Something about, are you getting that almost kind of was something
Oh,
about
right.
now,
So do you feel like a traitor?
oh, that's what it
And
was.
Florentine went, no, why would I feel like a
Why would
traitor?
I?
Well,
Yeah.
because you used to be on that metal show with Eddie Trunk, who doesn't like us, and now you're on the classic metal show. So I guess that makes this that classic metal show.
Yeah, what a
It's
fucking
because us.
clown.
It's because it's us Neelys. Neely's invented classic and metal.
Real quick, and I guess we'll have our. I don't know if we're done with the recap portion of this, but who's more likely to show up first, Kumia or Mark Goodman? Because now they threw those names out, and it's like, remember Neely said, "Oh, Mark Goodman and I really hit it off, and I'm going to try to get him on the show." Who do you think's
I'm going.
more
I'm
likely
going
to show-
Goodman.
Goodman?
I think Kumia.
You don't
is,
think that-
Kumia's not coming on.
I don't think Goodman's coming on. You don't think that
I
guy's
don't
going to
think
do
either
research?
of them are
I don't
coming
think
on,
either
but
of them.
still.
I don't know.
if I had to choose one or the other, I'm going to say Goodman only because of the profile. I'm 99.9% positive that Kumia is just completely yanking their chain.
Yeah. I don't know. I say neither, but probably with you. If I'm having to make a pick, it's probably going to be Goodman, although I think the odds of them getting him is 5%.
Yeah, I don't
Agreed.
think
It's low. My only point there is I think part of, again, even if Kumia was to consider the situation, he would listen to their show and say to himself, well, what do I have really in common with these guys? I'm not into that
how are they
music.
How are they going to bring in my listeners to my show?
Yeah, where do I fit here? At least Goodman, being formerly on MTV and music related, might be able to talk music or something with a music related show. Kumia, I don't see him wanting to lower himself to that. That's just my honest opinion.
So who do you think there, Andrew? Ant or Mark Goodman? Which one's more likely to make it on the show? I mean, I'm going 5% Goodman. But,
I'm with you guys that it'd be Mark. Mance a lost cause. They're not getting him.
Yeah, they're not going to get him as much as they hoped. I think part of it too is I think there was some Trump
as of last week
in this.
Last week there was a little bit of saltiness with the Ant thing.
Oh,
did you hear that development?
I might have missed it. What was the thing?
That Neely had gone to see Dave Landau do stand up, and they were talking about Anthony, and I'm going to paraphrase here, so don't quote me on it. But essentially, Neely talked about, we are trying to get your former co-host on our show, and he just kept ghosting us and standing us up. And
so he just fucked it up.
Dave said to him something along the lines of, well, I mean, you do your show on a Saturday night, and Ant's usually passed out drunk about time that he would be calling into you, so that doesn't surprise me.
Oh.
Which I've said a million times.
Wait a minute.
No one with any life is going
somebody
on
passed
the CMS
out drunk
on Saturday night.
that is associated with Neely? What the fuck?
Well, you need to drink alcohol to tolerate that guy.
Well, last night Neely had at least 2, if not 3, solo cups full of Jack and
You were
Coke.
saying he was getting the rosy cheeks going, right?
He was getting the rosy cheeks, and a couple of times it just seemed like he was smiling.
I won't stand for that slander. Neely doesn't drink. Remember, the
red solo cup with the Jack well, unless he's just drinking Coca-Cola straight, there was clearly a dark colored flavor there.
One, I could see him doing that and just saying Jack Daniels in there for the whole image. But I can also see him not being able to handle alcohol. So if he said that he was starting to act like he was kind of sauced.
Well, I only saw 2. I think there was, because I distinctly saw him drinking it early in the show. And then after one of the breaks, he came back and he was holding it and he took a sip and you could see it was full. He had refilled it and he was
right.
And then by the time he got through that one, is when I noticed the cheeks were a little red and he was
okay. I was gonna say, so was he was he getting the Eddie Money features?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The nose and the cheeks,
red cheeks. And smiling a lot, and the head was shaking.
And he was shaking. And Eddie Money.
There you go.
He was shaking. He was.
Neely was shaking.
It's Neely's Saturday night. He's having a good time, having a couple of cocktails, cutting it up with his friend Chris.
With his friend.
That's
the point of the show, right?
Right.
So, well, no knock on that. I just thought it was kind
Yeah.
of cute to watch Niels get plastered.
All right. Well, that's all I had on that on the show. Again, just really subdued. I guess we'll see how it goes. Week 4 of them censoring themselves and watching their backs. We'll see if the lunch lady throws something on to cover those fucking arms. And then we'll see what they have next week. Maybe they will
He
go
might
on Jericho
actually.
Green.
He might, if we're gonna, because you just brought this up, what Neely might wear next week. He might actually put on kind of like a teal smock and a white apron.
I was thinking he'd wear like one of those
Hairnet.
fucking ruffly shirts like that fucking guy from Red Rain in that horrible
He
video.
could do that. The Seinfeld shirt, yeah.
Yeah,
of
the
course.
Seinfeld shirt.
Pirate shirt, yes.
Pirate shirt. Oh,
Bubba,
man.
can I borrow your pirate shirt for the show next week?
Right.
I want to turn Taylor on. She said it makes me look as if I was a 16th century vampire.
Well, when I put on the pirate shirt, Bubba, they thought I was Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
God.
You see him thinking that.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oof. All right.
Well, if it's not Johnny Depp, it's Vince Neil or Kip Winger or Dog the Bounty
Right,
Hunter,
of
or a list
course.
of famous people that he closely resembles, and everyone mistakes him for her.
No
Right.
kidding. Wow. All right. Well,
Well.
we do have somebody coming on, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have
Yes.
somebody
So
come
let's-
on here in
let's-
just a minute or two, make
so-
that arrangement.
So
and,
let's prep for that, and then we'll get
Oh,
that
one
going.
last thing.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
want to say, rest in peace, Les Binks. You played on an
Oh.
album or two of
Yes.
Judas Priest that I did enjoy.
Right.
And I also wanted to say, hey, Mike Patton, no one wants to really see you with Bungle. Get back to Faith No More and stop
Right.
jerking them around. You're getting too old for these shenanigans. Anyways.
Now, with real quick with Jesus, don't get me started on that. With Bungle, no, the first couple records good. After that,
First two. I like.
but anytime Scott Ian gets involved with anything other than Anthrax, it's the fucking kiss of death.
Absolutely.
that's kinda where it is with
And
Bungle.
I'm not anti-Bungle. I just think
Right.
do that on the side and do Faith No More.
Yeah, do
Stop
Faith No
jerking
More,
us
man.
around. Yeah, we need more Borden and everybody up there.
Yeah.
You're getting too old, and there's not many dates left. And as he's pointing out, it's been 5 years you've been waiting around. Get back
Right.
on stage and play some Faith No More.
Right.
It's not that hard. That's what everybody wants to hear you do, man.
True.
So, anyways, just
All right.
news stories I saw that made me go, why are they doing that? Because Faith No More, Angel Dust, one of my favorite albums.
Oh, that is the fucking great record right there.
Great record. Yeah,
Oof.
awesome.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
all right, we're gonna get. I gotta get on the phone here and get my dear friend to call in, and we're gonna
Connect
get
us
him
to
on the show.
Tennessee. All right.
Absolutely, yeah. There's some things happening out there right now as we speak.
Raise your horns high, let your spirit flow. It's the classic